Sure, David Anderson, Anderson, and I am a partner here at Kerrigan and Anderson Law Firm.
Okay. So, Mr. Anderson, what is it that you specialize in? What are some of the cases that you often are focusing on?
Sure, my focus primarily involves what we call first party insurance litigation, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's representing first party, meaning the policyholder, against their insurance company when their insurance company either has denied or underpaid a claim.
Okay. So the reason we're here to talk today is we want to explain for viewers kind of what are some of the common scams, what are some of the common mistakes that are made after a storm. Recently, we just had the hailstorm that affected a lot of areas in San Patricio County. So kind of tell us, for starters, what are some of the common scams that you see in the aftermath of storms like this?
Sure. The most common scam that we see, and we see this after every storm really anywhere in the state of Texas now, unfortunately, is the deluge of out of town roofing companies and contractors that come in that are not local. They're typically not permitted or licensed in the area, offering to do repairs at some kind of below market value, or really offering to reimburse the homeowner for their deductible on their insurance, which is not only unethical, but is also illegal. So if you have somebody knocking on your door, handing you a business card that's got an out-of-town phone number, out-of-town address, or just frankly somebody you've never heard of, it's a good idea to look them up, check out their credentials on the internet, check the triple B, or more importantly, or probably better idea, just hire somebody local, somebody that you could walk down, find their office if you need to, and actually talk to them.
When it comes to these out-of-town solicitors or out-of-town companies, when they come to the door and they give you a contract or they give folks a contract, what are some red flags that people should look out for? What are some typical maybe language or typical signs that maybe this is not as good of a deal as it sounds?
Sure. The biggest red flag that you're going to be looking out for is, are they offering to refund your insurance deductible? That's a crime in the state of Texas now. You're not allowed to do so. The other really, really big red flag, and we see this a lot, and this is a huge problem, is sign something that allows the insurance company to just give the checks to me, meaning to the roofing company. The checks need to go to the homeowner, not to the roofing company. And you also don't want to sign anything that says that you'll simply pay them whatever the insurance company pays you. Some of those payments may be for more than just a roofing issue or more than just a physical damage issue. There may be more to it, and you don't want to sign something that says that you're going to give all of your policy proceeds to the roofing company.
Outside of solicitors coming to the door, some of these shadier contracts, are there other sort of common scams that people often fall victim to in lieu of storms? Is there other things that people should be mindful of? Are there any recent things like that have only started happening over the past couple years, maybe, that you've started noticing?
Sure. One trend that we have noticed for sure is a deluge also of attorneys that come into an area that start advertising for insurance cases when those attorneys have no experience or no background in doing cases like that. Now, we all know that we've got to give an insurance company the opportunity to do the right thing. There's no reason to rush out and go hire an attorney the day after a storm. But if your insurance company doesn't pay you the way that you believe you should or the way a contractor is telling you, then you ought to go consult an attorney. But you need to be careful about who you consult, and consult an attorney who's got a background in doing this type of work, not somebody who the week before was doing a different type of law and now all of a sudden, because a hailstorm has happened in their area, is now an insurance lawyer. And that's something that you can check out on the internet, or simply go talk to the lawyer and ask him what the background he has in first party insurance is.
When it comes to these storms, what are people's rights? I know, speaking with some folks, they had some issues with, damage to their property from their neighbors. A tree fell on their house, and they're not really sure what to do. Or just in situations like these, what are people's rights after damage like this?
Sure. Well, specifically to your question, so if a neighbor's tree falls on your property during a storm, you should absolutely file an insurance claim. Okay, 99.9% of insurance policies are going to cover that. That's a covered cause of loss unless you have some kind of exception in your policy that's not a normal one. Okay, so absolutely you should file a claim in that scenario. But I would tell anybody that feels like they were in the path of this storm, where they had hail, they could hear it hitting their home, go ahead and file a claim. They will send out an insurance adjuster who's typically a trained professional. He will look at your roof, he will look at the rest of your house, and he or she will tell you whether they think you have damage or not. You don't have to agree with their assessment. You can go consult a public adjuster. You can consult an attorney, whatever you want to do afterward. But your right is to file a claim and have somebody give you some kind of advice on what to do. If you don't agree with that advice, then that's the time to go seek advice from an attorney or a public adjuster.
And when it comes to, maybe before a storm, or, maybe people are moving into an area where they have not experienced storms like this before, what are some ways that people can prepare themselves for any future storms? How can they make sure that, if their home was damaged or they weren't prepared for this most recent one, they can be prepared for the next one?
Sure. Well, the most common thing, we get this question a lot. So I'm not qualified to answer it necessarily from a building perspective, but from an insurance perspective, the biggest thing we see is people get a windstorm and they go to file an insurance claim, and all of a sudden they realize for the first time, I don't have windstorm insurance coverage. I'm only covered for homeowners, but I don't have windstorm. So the biggest thing you can do is to call your agent or look at your policy if you are familiar enough with it, and make sure that you actually have windstorm coverage. There will be a section that says windstorm or hail with an amount next to it that you're paying annually as a premium. If that's not there, you should contact your agent and say, hey, I noticed that I don't have windstorm insurance. Please help me remedy this. That's the biggest thing we see, is people who don't realize that. The second one is people who do not realize that they either have an insurance ceiling or an insurance policy limit that is way below what they thought. You need to take a look at what's written into your policy and how much your home is insured for, and make sure that you agree with that in the event that there's some kind of catastrophic damage. The other big issue is the deductible. People need to look at their policy and look at what their deductible is. Some deductibles change with regard to a windstorm, and some of them can be a lot higher than people know. There's typically ways to pay more in premiums if you'd like to bring that deductible down, but that's always a surprise to people, is what their deductible is.
Is there anything else you want to add? Is there anything else in the aftermath of this most recent storm that you've noticed that you want to address? Is there just anything that you think would be important for our viewers, for residents of the Coastal Bend, really anyone to know about this specific topic?
Sure. The most important thing is if you don't know your rights, which most typical homeowners do not, the best thing you can do if you feel like you're being treated unfairly by an insurance company, or anybody else for that matter, is to contact an attorney. Most attorneys will talk to you free of charge, do a consult, and just tell you whether it seems like you've got an issue or not. And that's the most important thing, is don't just sit back and accept whatever is told to you. If you think that there's cause for concern, reach out to somebody. It's easy. Get on the internet, find an attorney who's willing to talk to you for 5 minutes, and they will probably be able to answer any question you have.